Order for a broken heart. Seattle greeted them with rain, but that was no problem for Grace. She loved the smell of wet earth and the sound of waves crashing against the boardwalk. This city, with its fog and the constant whisper of the ocean, was her home. Today, she was supposed to meet Ryan, an emotion hunter, a man who was both a legend and a nightmare in her professional world. Grace entered the small cafe, Blue Harbor, where he was already sitting at a table, elbows resting on the wood, scrolling through his tablet. "You must be Ryan?" she asked, approaching the table. He looked up and smiled, the kind of smile that made even Seattle's gloom seem a little brighter. "Grace, I've heard a lot of good things about you, and about your refusal to take on these kinds of jobs. Then I guess you're surprised to see me here?" she said, sitting down across from him. "This case is different." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Different how?" "Very. We've been hired to steal the real love of a wealthy client." "Classic setup," he smirked. "But you do know real feelings aren't so easy to bottle and sell." "That's why I'm here." Grace looked him in the eyes. "We need to stop it. And, if possible, stop you." Ryan raised his hands in peace. "All right, let the game begin." The next day, they met at the office of Emotional Shield, where they received the full profile of the client, Elizabeth Harper, a successful businesswoman and well-known philanthropist whose heart was a valuable asset. "She's not just rich," she explained. "She's extremely guarded. She trusts almost no one." "Who do you think wants her feelings?" "There are a few candidates, mostly people wanting control over her company." They started surveillance, analyzing every move around Elizabeth. But something felt off. Ryan began to notice how emotionally invested Grace was becoming. "You're taking this too personally," he said one day, after she nearly lost her temper over another failed lead. "I just want things to be fair, and feelings shouldn't be for sale." Their partnership slowly grew closer. Ryan began to see something beyond the mission, a tenderness and grace that she didn't show to anyone else. One evening, they sat together on the office terrace, watching the city lights. "You know," Ryan began softly, "I never thought this job could change a person so much." "Maybe because it's not just a job," she smiled. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world around them went quiet. "That doesn't mean I'll let you win my heart so easily," she added with a playful smirk. "I wouldn't want it any other way," he grinned. Everything got more complicated when they discovered the real client wasn't one of Elizabeth's rivals. It was Elizabeth herself. She had hired an emotion hunter to steal her own love. Tired, worn out, and heartbroken, she wanted to forget everything she once felt for someone. "It's not a crime," she said during a private meeting. "It's a release." Grace was shocked. "But you can't just erase love. It's a part of who you are." "That's exactly why I want it gone. If you've ever loved so deeply it hurts every single day, you'd understand." Ryan listened silently, and for the first time a crack appeared in his confident expression. He knew that kind of pain. He had once tried to forget it too. "You're hurting," he said softly to Elizabeth, "but that doesn't mean you have to be empty." "I don't want to be empty. I want to be free." Together, Grace and Ryan stood on the rooftop, looking out at the Seattle port. One of those moments where the world holds its breath, and words seem unnecessary. But they had to speak. "What do we do?" she asked. "We can't go through with the job, but we also can't force someone to keep loving against their will. What if she changes her mind? What if she regrets it? Then it'll be too late." They were quiet for a long time. Then he added, "You know, I never thought I'd be on the side of emotional protection, but you've changed something in me." She smiled. "And I never thought I'd be protecting a hunter." That's when they made their decision. They would try to convince Elizabeth, not with pressure, but with honesty. Elizabeth awaited them in her penthouse. Her gaze was cold, but in the corners of her eyes there was no anger, just exhaustion. Grace stepped forward. "We're not going to complete the job, but we want to offer you something." "What?" she asked dryly. "A day, just one day. Live like you still had that love, and if after that you still want it gone, we won't stop you." She was silent for a long time. "One day," she whispered. "All right." The next day, she wandered the streets of the city, smiled at strangers, looked through old photos, bought the same ice cream they used to share. And by the time she returned home that evening, something had shifted. She looked alive again. She called Grace. "I changed my mind. I'm keeping the feeling. And the strangest thing, I feel like myself again." Grace didn't reply. She just smiled. And Ryan stood next to her with that same look, something soft and new. They met again on the same terrace. "Well," Ryan said, "one heart saved." "Maybe even two?" she whispered. He stepped closer, and for the first time, he didn't crack a sarcastic joke. "You know, I never wanted to believe in love, but I think I found someone who made me reconsider." She didn't answer with words. She just took one step toward him. Just one. And for a moment, all of Seattle stood still with them.